what was always really important to me growing up and during my kind of teen years was horse riding, which was really weird given that I grew up in like South London and there aren't many horses in South London, but I fell into it and it worked. But obviously when I was in hospital, I had to stop riding. I was kind of chatting about what was really important to me and what I was missing and what I wasn't doing anymore. And horses came up and everyone knew that I was really into like horse riding. And they were really into kind of getting out and about and doing things outside of like a clinical environment and like building like therapeutic relationships and actually doing therapeutic work, but in environments that you wouldn't usually be exposed to in a kind of CAM setting. So Bernie and I went to Surrey, which was a trek from South London, but we did it to go to my old stables. And I didn't realise at the time, but I think it kind of came through on the way down, that Bernie is actually really scared of horses. And I felt really bad. And I was like, oh my God, we can't go to a stables if she's scared of horses. But it worked out really well. And hopefully it wasn't too traumatic, Bernie. I hope it's okay.
No, I think it was a good introduction to the horses and you knew them really well. So you were telling me a bit about them, but I do remember it raining the whole time we were there and like squelching through the mud to get up the hill to meet the ones that were like your favourites.
Yes, I do remember this. Yeah, the weather was really bad, but it really meant a lot to me. And I can't say that I've ever been to see my old like yard with any other CAMS professional or any other team. I mean, that is pretty unique to you guys, and that's not something I ever thought I would ever do with a CAMS team or a mental health team, but I did it with you guys, and yeah, it was really important to me at the time, and it meant a lot.
I do think it's one of the things about working in this team that we've got to do like extraordinary things and go out and do therapy sessions out in the community. So when I was thinking a bit about what that looks like in terms of the different places I got to go when I worked in SDS, I'm thinking mostly about our walking group. That I think me and Ruth did this together quite a few times, where we actually went out and did the walking group, but it was part of Pokemon Go. So we had us, all the young people, all the other team members involved, and we literally went all around London trying to find these like exclusive Pokemon, which I don't know if we ever tracked all of them down in the end, but we managed to get quite a few, I think.
I definitely think that it's been great in terms of going out into the community and definitely doing therapeutic work in people's environments, especially in the home, in their schools, and just literally going into different settings. And I think that's the special thing about SDS, is that we weren't confined to just the building.
Just listening to the conversation now, what I was just going to say is just reminding me, Stella, just actually, when you hear this conversation, you almost think that quite a normal day in a child's life going horse riding, but actually you were going through quite a horrendous time, and it took a lot of planning to be able to take young people on some of these activities because of the level of risk. And I think one of the really exciting things about sport discharge was that we were taking risks with children that would otherwise have been in hospital. But also there's another side to it, and that's the research, the important bit about how it impacted on children's lives and how other services adopted our model. And I wondered, Dennis, if you could tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, yeah, so the fun part of this presentation is the research that we did. We did the first study called randomized control study, which compares usual inpatient admission to an early discharge with SDS. And essentially what we have found was that SDS were significantly less likely to self-harm than the ones who were in hospital, and also that they were getting back to school significantly more often than young people who remained in hospital. So I'll just hand over to Toby and Martin to say a few words about how things are now.
I think it's been really great to be part of an evolving picture where our model of work has now expanded essentially. Our team's strength is very much about having the really solid communication with all of us day in, day out, and also in a way, I suppose you could describe it as a kind of a flat hierarchy where, you know, myself as a consultant can still take part. I guess recent experience I've had is a young person who happened to particularly like the local falafel shop, and just being able to say to them, great, you know, I'll come with you and we'll go and get a bite to eat for lunch. And you know, on the way there, you hear them say, but hold on a minute, you're the consultant, aren't you? I think it's invaluable, really, what kind of trust and work you can do on that basis, with the flexibility and also sort of creativity that's sort of built into what we do.
That falafel shop probably deserves quite a lot of credit for the work that we have done over the years with the young people. But yeah, I just wanted to sort of reiterate really about how the sort of the flexibility that the team is able to offer to these young people who often are in crisis, and the way that the team has developed now from supported discharge into an enhanced treatment program, where, you know, we're trying to offer more to those young people, often now before they reach the point where they will need admission in the future as well. And I think that the great thing about this team is that we are able to offer different evidence-based models to help the young people, but the focus really is on each young person's needs, and that we often are able to impact those lives that can fall through the gaps of other models.
And so what I thought we'd do now is just actually show a video of one of those young people who makes some really positive choices about how she wanted to develop.
I was in hospital for just over 2 months. It was just so strange to be out of hospital. It was quite overwhelming, and I just felt like I was struggling more than ever.
I started working with Kay when she was leaving hospital. She was very vulnerable, emotionally very fragile. Kay, where did that come from?
So we all decided to do a little positive quote. So we were researching and...
So you made it?
Yeah, I made it.
Wow. The whole purpose of the supported discharge service, working with Kay, was to help her stay safe. Alongside and in addition to that, it was about helping Kay develop strategies in order to help her manage her distress.
And every Thursday they do a painting night, and it's all free and it's fantastic.
Thinking now and what she needed in the future with regards to mental health support, and also about different things she wanted to do in her life. For example, did she want to go back to school or not?
I was really worried about going back to school, but Jane and SDS were going to all the meetings with me for me to come back and organise all of that, so it was so helpful.
Supported discharge service actually is really, really unique, because when I was working with Kay, we didn't have a clinic, we don't have a clinic. So all of my time with Kay was out and about in the real world, in her life.
I think I've become so much more open, and I find it so much easier to talk about my emotions now after working with SDS and all the other teams I've been with. I've been lucky enough to be with.
And you have actually really, really been amazing, and there is such a difference now. You know yourself better now. Yeah. And that was through sheer hard work on your part.
And I think I've not only just discovered more about what makes me happy, but I've built up my life around what does make me happy and what does make me want to keep going. SDS were definitely a huge stepping stone in my recovery. Jane was always so lovely to me. She never judges you, and it was just so lovely to do things like normal day-to-day things, but with the support of a mental health professional. I just felt like I wasn't alone anymore.
I'm really proud of Kay. She's really found something that has real meaning for her, and she's flying. She's off.
When I was in hospital, I met some amazing nurses and different people, and they were so supportive and they were always there to talk to, and that's what inspired me to become a mental health nurse. I rate the Maudsley really highly, and all their staff, because it's honestly changed my life, and I just wouldn't be where I am now without them.